Libra, beautiful soul. Let me begin with something clear and powerful. Your name is being spoken right now not by accident, but by divine alignment. You didn't just stumble onto this video. The moment you pressed play was a moment of sacred timing, a response to something inside you stirring, asking, seeking. And that's exactly what this deep horoscope reading is about. Because there's a hot rumor surrounding you right now, and you are standing at the center of it. But this is not about drama. It's about truth. A truth that's rising to the surface, and it's going to surprise everyone, including you. Here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot, this isn't just another astrology video. It's a portal. A mirror. A safe, soul-guided space where energy speaks before words do. Today, I'm here to guide you through what's unfolding not just around you, but inside you. Libra, you're not just caught in the middle of whispers, you're becoming the reason the world starts to listen more closely. You are being observed. People are curious. Some are inspired. Some are intimidated. Some don't even know why your energy is pulling them in. But it is. And that's because your light is becoming unmissable. But let's pause for a moment. Can you feel it? That subtle shift in your spirit. The feeling that the story others have told about you is no longer accurate. And the real you is about to be revealed. This reading is not here to explain the rumor. It's here to honor the reason behind it, and more importantly, to honor the powerful transformation you're stepping into. You're not being targeted, you're being noticed. You're not being pulled into conflict, you're being called into clarity. And before we go any further, allow me to say this from my heart: thank you. Thank you for being here. Your presence is not just felt, it's valued. Every time you comment, every time you subscribe or share this message, you anchor the energy of truth deeper into this space. You become part of a spiritual movement that uplifts not just one zodiac sign but an entire collective. Your support keeps this channel alive. It allows me to bring these soul messages to the ones who need them at exactly the right time. And trust me, Libra, you'll want to stay with me until the very end of this message, because what the universe is revealing right now is nothing short of remarkable. It might shake your current perspective. It might even change how you see yourself. But one thing is certain: it will awaken something that was always meant to rise. So before we continue, I want to ask you something simple, but deeply personal. What do you think brought you here today, right now, of all moments? Drop a comment and let me know what you're feeling in this exact moment. Or even better, share the angel number you've been seeing lately, those repeating signs that just won't leave you alone. This is your confirmation. This is your message. And now, let's go deeper. There's something tenderly ironic about how rumors find us just when we begin to step more fully into our light. Libra, if you're feeling like your name is being passed around in hushed tones or your presence is stirring unseen conversations, you're not imagining things. But here's the deeper truth: this is not a spiritual attack. It's an energetic mirror. What feels like external noise is often a reflection of your inner glow becoming too radiant for others to ignore, especially those still wrestling with their own shadows. In astrology, when the moon stands opposite Venus as it does in the sky right now, it reveals a divine tension between our inner world and our outer image. The moon rules emotion, intuition, and all that is private. Venus governs beauty, relationships, and how we are perceived. When these two energies pull in different directions, it creates friction, but not for destruction. For revelation. This is the beginning of what I call the light phase, a sacred time where anything not aligned with your truth begins to fall away, sometimes in loud and uncomfortable ways. And yes, sometimes through rumors. But let's look at this differently. What if the whispers around you are not an attack, but an activation? What if the discomfort you feel is actually the pressure of false layers peeling off outdated versions of you that can no longer survive under the brightness of who you're becoming? Libra, this moment isn't about silencing the noise. It's about listening more carefully to what it's exposing. Because whispers don't just reveal the intentions of others. They also reveal how far you've come. The stronger your energy becomes, the more likely it is to stir reactions in others, both supportive and resistant. This is why I encourage you to observe, not absorb. You don't need to defend yourself. You only need to notice who's speaking with integrity when you're not in the room. Who remains silent when truth is twisted? Who tries to disguise envy as concern, or sarcasm as humor? These are subtle revelations that matter. They help you redefine trust, not based on words, but on energetic consistency. Think of this time as a spiritual sifting. The universe is not punishing you. It's refining your circle. It's removing excess weight so that you can rise. This phase isn't here to test your strength through resistance, it's here to sharpen your clarity through contrast. Not everyone around you was meant to come with you into this next chapter. And some people, even with good intentions, cannot hold space for the version of you that is evolving right now. And in moments when the noise feels heavy, remember this: you are not responsible for the stories others tell about you. You are only responsible for the story you are living. There is such quiet power in staying aligned with your truth when others try to project their confusion onto you. It's not passive. It's sovereign. You see, there is something sacred in choosing stillness when everything around you demands reaction. That choice to not retaliate, to not defend what doesn't need defending, is often where your deepest transformation happens. That's where you stop being reactive and start being reflective. And this shift doesn't just protect your peace, it expands your influence. Because when you learn to hold your center under pressure, you become a lighthouse not just for yourself, but for those silently searching for their own clarity. I've always believed that God works not only in silence but through patterns, repeated feelings, nudges, and moments of discomfort that serve as divine redirection. Sometimes, what looks like rejection or betrayal is simply protection disguised as disappointment. Maybe you're not being excluded, maybe you're being shielded from energy that would have diluted your calling. So instead of asking, "Why are they saying this about me?" try asking, "What is this trying to show me about my alignment?" Trust that nothing real can be threatened, and nothing false can stay hidden forever. You are being refined, not rejected. This is your moment to rise, Libra, not in defiance, but in quiet confidence. And the more you honor the truth of who you are, the less the noise will matter. What often surprises us the most is how powerful stillness can be. When things begin to swirl, when misunderstandings surface or old energies try to pull you back into the chaos, your quiet alignment with truth speaks louder than any defense ever could. Libra, you are the sign of the scales for a reason. In a world where people are quick to judge, quick to react, and quick to project their own insecurities outward, your ability to hold space with grace is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. You don't need to prove who you are. The way you show up, even in silence, already reveals your strength. Right now, your energy is magnetic not because you're doing something flashy or loud, but because you're finally stepping fully into the version of yourself that doesn't seek external approval. There is something irresistibly attractive about a person who knows who they are and no longer feels the need to explain it. That is what makes you the center of attention now. Not performance. Presence. Even when you're navigating uncertainty, people around you sense a shift. Some may not understand it consciously, but they feel your energy vibrating on a different frequency, clearer, lighter, unshakable. This is why you may notice people reappearing in your life. Someone from your past might suddenly reach out. A door you thought was closed might open again, but this time, from a place of mutual respect rather than imbalance. Or perhaps the same situations are coming back around, but you're meeting them with a different version of yourself, wiser, stronger, more whole. And that changes everything. As you continue moving through this energetic portal, the universe may begin sending you small confirmations that you're on the right path. Angel numbers like 111, 222, or 888 might start showing up around you. These numbers aren't magic in themselves, they're just reminders, a way of catching your attention and pulling you back into alignment. Maybe it's a license plate, a clock, a receipt. But when you see them, pause. Breathe. Acknowledge that you're being guided, even in the smallest ways. These signs often come just before something important shifts, a message, a conversation, or a chance that feels small at first but carries deeper meaning than you expected. In numerology, the angel number 1155 is a powerful symbol of necessary change and divine truth. It arrives when you're being asked to release the fear of stepping into unfamiliar territory. It doesn't mean something bad is coming, it means something real is. The kind of real that requires your full authenticity. That's why this phase isn't about doing more, it's about standing in the truth of who you've already become. That alone draws what's meant for you. Even in modern faith, we often forget that miracles don't always arrive as lightning bolts. Sometimes they come as quiet shifts in our energy, in how we speak to ourselves, in how we carry ourselves in rooms where we used to shrink. God, or whatever name you give to that greater intelligence, often moves through the ordinary moments, a reconnection, a soft apology, an opportunity that shows up just when you thought it was too late. If we stay awake, if we stay rooted in our peace, these small openings become the very pathways to the breakthroughs we've been waiting for. So Libra, if you've been sensing the atmosphere around you changing, if your name is surfacing more often in conversations seen or unseen, know this isn't a coincidence. It's alignment. You're not just balancing the scales anymore. You're becoming the very force that keeps them centered. And those who are meant to walk this next chapter with you will recognize that quiet strength for what it is, not something to question, but something to respect. If any particular number or sign has been showing up in your life lately, I invite you to share it in the comments. Let this space be more than just a video, let it be a mirror. A moment where you declare to the universe that you're ready to welcome what's real and release what no longer fits. There are moments in life when truth doesn't knock gently, it arrives like a sudden gust of wind, clearing away everything that once blocked your view. Libra, if you've been sensing a strange tension rising, as if something hidden is making its way to the surface, you're not mistaken. This is that turning point. That quiet unraveling. And though it may seem sudden to the outside world, your soul has been expecting this all along. The truth that's about to reveal itself isn't designed to harm you, it's here to liberate you. It may come in the form of a conversation you didn't expect, a person from the past resurfacing, or a shift in a relationship that's been dragging behind you like a shadow for far too long. But no matter how it comes, you are ready. This is what the energy of this phase is all about: clarity without confrontation, freedom without force. Someone who once walked away may return, not to reclaim their place, but to acknowledge what they failed to see before. You're no longer seeking validation from others, and yet, this is often when it finally arrives. Not as a request to begin again, but as a recognition of your worth that no longer needs proving. It's a full circle moment, not for reconciliation, but for release. What a beautiful kind of power that is. Still, with revelation comes responsibility. And one of the most sacred responsibilities in this season is to choose wisely what you respond to. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every apology deserves an open door. This is a time to listen, not with defensiveness, but with discernment. Let your intuition speak before your words do. Don't rush to forgive just to make things easy. And don't rush to shut down what still carries truth. Stay present. Stay open. But most of all, stay grounded in the growth you've already done. Because the old version of you might have jumped to fix, to explain, to make it better. But the version of you now knows that peace doesn't require performance. When the truth comes, let it come all the way. Let it expose what was unspoken. Let it clarify what was cloudy. Let it return to you what you gave without expectation. But don't lose yourself in the process of understanding others. That's the real test, to hold both compassion and clarity at the same time. From the lens of energy work, this is a moment of energetic refinement where cords are cut not in anger, but in liberation. Where what is no longer aligned naturally dissolves. And what is meant for you will not require force, only faith. It reminds me of the simple spiritual wisdom that we often forget in daily life, that what is true does not need to convince, and what is meant to stay will not run. It doesn't have to be complicated to be powerful. And perhaps the most healing action you can take during this time is to release the judgment you've carried toward those who couldn't meet you where you were. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. A gentle practice for this moment: take a small piece of paper, write the name of the person or situation you've been holding inside, and say aloud, "I release you to the light. I keep the peace for myself." Then, let it burn in a safe space. Not as a ritual of ending, but of choosing peace over resentment. Of choosing yourself. You are not here to hold the weight of others' unspoken truths. You are here to walk in the light of your own. And Libra, this season, it's not just about discovering the truth. It's about discovering that you are strong enough to stand with it and soft enough to grow because of it. What you're beginning to notice, Libra, is not just coincidence, it's clarity. There's a soft awareness blooming within you now, the kind that doesn't demand proof or explanation. It simply knows. That inner knowing, the gentle tug in your chest when something feels off, or the unexpected calm when something just feels right, is not to be brushed aside anymore. Your intuition has always been present, but in this moment of your journey, it's no longer just whispering. It's becoming the voice you trust first. When you walk into a room and instantly feel your energy shift when a certain conversation drains you before it even begins, that's not drama, that's data. It's energetic truth. Your spirit is picking up what someone's words might never admit. This kind of energetic sensitivity isn't weakness. It's a superpower that requires emotional maturity to handle. And you, Libra, are being entrusted with more of it because you've proven that you listen with integrity and respond with grace. This sensitivity may show up in surprising ways through a repeating dream, a certain song that keeps playing in the background of your life, or a phrase someone says that lands in your heart with strange weight. Don't ignore those nudges. They are not distractions. They are directional signs, calibrated by something wiser than your conscious mind. And most of the time, those signs won't shout. They won't demand your attention with chaos. They'll come in through the quiet in the moments when your phone is off, when you're staring at the sky, or sitting with your coffee in the morning light. That's when the frequency is the clearest. This is why developing a consistent daily practice is so valuable right now. It doesn't need to be grand or mystical, but it must be real. A 3-minute pause with your hand over your heart. A few words of truth written down before the day begins. A stone in your pocket that reminds you to breathe. These small rituals are not just habits, they are invitations. They help you sync with the quiet rhythm of the universe, the kind that doesn't compete for your attention, but waits for your awareness. If you've been feeling disconnected or unsure lately, try this. Take one sheet of paper and write the words, I choose truth. I choose peace. I choose myself. Fold it, carry it with you, or place it somewhere you'll see it often. Let it be a reminder that you are not required to explain your clarity. You only need to honor it. In today's noisy world, it's easy to forget that God, or whatever name you hold for the greater force of love and order, often shows up in the small things. A call you didn't expect. A moment of stillness before a storm. A door closing gently, so another can open without force. Miracles don't always look like fireworks. Sometimes, they look like boundaries. Like saying no to a place that used to feel safe, but no longer fits your frequency. Sometimes, the miracle is you finally hearing your own voice again and deciding that it's enough. You're not imagining the expansion you feel right now. You're not being overly emotional. You're not being distant. You're tuning in. This is the season where your soul stops chasing alignment and starts embodying it. And the more you do, the more your life will quietly begin to reflect that truth. Not because you forced it, but because you listened and you followed what only your heart could hear. Sometimes the greatest blessings arrive not with noise, but with grace. They don't knock loudly or demand attention, they simply appear the moment you've stopped chasing them. Libra, what's arriving in your life now is not a reward for struggle, but a reflection of your quiet alignment. The peace you've chosen to cultivate, the decisions you've made in silence, the boundaries you've held without explanation, all of it has been preparing the ground for something real to grow. And what's blossoming now is what has always been meant for you. This is the season where the energy you once poured into proving yourself begins to circle back, not as pressure, but as provision. Unexpected financial support. A proposal from someone who's been watching your growth from a distance. A look that speaks the words someone else never had the courage to say. These are not lucky breaks. They are signals that you are no longer in the energy of pursuit, you are in the energy of permission. And the moment you stop chasing what you thought you needed, you make space for what was always trying to find you. In the realm of universal law, particularly the law of attraction, this shift from desperation to devotion is everything. You're no longer asking life to deliver on your timeline. You're trusting that what's aligned will arrive when you're prepared to receive it fully and not a moment sooner. That's the real difference between force and flow. And you, Libra, are beginning to master that balance with the same grace you offer others. You're not seeking the spotlight, but you've become the light, and light is magnetic. Still, the journey doesn't end at manifestation. Now comes the sacred responsibility of maintenance, staying grounded while things begin to unfold. One of the most powerful daily practices you can commit to right now is gratitude and conscious presence. Each morning, write down 3 things you spent money on yesterday, no judgment, and 1 thing you're genuinely thankful for. This simple act transforms your relationship with finances from guilt to awareness, and from scarcity to stewardship. You begin to witness abundance not as something to earn, but as something to manage with care. And your body, this vessel that carries so much energy, needs tending too. Begin with water, warm, intentional sips in the morning that cleanse more than just your throat. Then support your system with essential nutrients like magnesium and vitamin D, not for aesthetics, but for inner stability. Your nervous system deserves as much peace as your heart does. Every act of care is a vote for the future you're building. When it comes to love, both the romantic kind and the love you give in friendships or family, remember this: saying no gently is sometimes the most honest form of love you can offer. It honors your truth while making room for authentic connection. The people who are meant for you won't be scared off by your boundaries. They'll be drawn to them, because they'll see that you know your worth. And if work feels misaligned, overwhelming, or stale, don't wait for an external shift. Start investing in yourself in small, consistent ways. 15 minutes a day. A new course. A new question. A new tool. The effort doesn't have to be dramatic, but it must be faithful. Every time you sow into yourself, you plant the energy that the next door will recognize. Libra, this isn't a peak. It's a steady rise. And you don't need to sprint to get ahead anymore. All you need is presence, peace, and permission to receive what is already making its way to you. Let it arrive, not because you demanded it, but because you quietly became the version of yourself who could finally hold it. Libra, if there's one thing I hope you carry with you after this message, it's the quiet certainty that you were never meant to blend in. You're not at the center of the storm because you caused it, you're at the center because your presence reveals what can no longer remain hidden. And that, in itself, is a gift. You don't need to shout to be heard, and you don't need to explain your worth to those who chose not to see it before. Your truth stands on its own, steady, unshakable, radiant. There's a sacred kind of power in simply being who you are, without apology. And that power is growing stronger in you now. Maybe you've already started to feel it in the way people respond to your presence, in the opportunities that quietly unfold, in the peace that no longer needs to be defended. These aren't accidents. They're responses to the inner work you've been doing, the alignment you've been cultivating, the faith you've been planting even in seasons where no one saw how hard it was to keep going. So here's my gentle invitation to you: pause and reflect on what part of this message spoke to your soul. What resonated deep enough to make you feel understood, seen, validated? What action are you willing to take now that you weren't ready for before? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Or better yet, share it in the comments so the universe knows you're listening, responding, and ready to receive. Have you been seeing repeating numbers lately? A phrase that keeps echoing in your life? A dream that won't leave you alone? That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. Let this moment be your anchor. Let it be the moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin saying, "I'm ready." Comment the angel number or repeating sign that's been showing up for you, so that this space can become a mirror for your transformation. And if you felt even the smallest shift inside, a spark of hope, a feeling of relief, a quiet yes in your spirit, then don't let it fade. Hold it. Breathe into it. Let it expand. Because sometimes, the biggest change doesn't happen in a sudden explosion. It happens in the decision to believe again. In yourself. In your path. In the divine timing that has never been late, only preparing you for what's always been yours. Thank you for walking this part of your journey with me. Your presence here is not only appreciated, it's deeply honored. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share this message keeps this sacred circle alive and growing. You are the reason Zodiac Whisper Tarot continues to exist, not just as a channel, but as a light for those navigating their truth. If something is awakening in you today, don't look away. Stay curious. Stay soft. Stay grounded in your knowing. And remember, Libra, your role is not to chase truth. It's to stand in it, and let everything that's not aligned fall away on its own. Until next time, may your intuition guide you, your heart protect you, and your truth carry you home. You are exactly where you need to be. And the light? It never stopped choosing you.